no stress.
Not a complaining lady.
We are growing, and I want to make sure that we grow together. And I'm like, who are you? You know, sometimes I feel like he's very surface with me.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We're talking to you guys about Monique and Chris. Chris finally speaks up and demands for Monique to stop always using criticism and actually try to apply some positive regard. Isn't that what we've been saying for the past few weeks? On our lives of love and marriage, have we not been saying the very same things? We want to see more of, Chris being encouraged by Monique. That's what we said, right? Anyway, listen, we're going to talk a little bit deeper in this scene because there were several things that I noted about this particular scene. Even earlier before that point, when they were doing the exercise where they were pulling each other, the coach said, obviously, say some nice things to each other. Chris said 2 nice things. Monique didn't say any. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. But listen, we're going to go a little bit deeper in this review. Make sure if you're new to the channel, you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. We appreciate you. Let's get into the video. All right.
It seems like every time you get with him, you kind of bashing me.
That's not bashing.
Chris complaining. Chris ain't doing this. Chris ain't doing that. Lately I'm hearing it so much, and now you're sharing it with other people.
Now, we spoke about this on our live the last few weeks about how Monique has been very critical of Chris to a point where we're like, I don't know if she wants to be in this marriage anymore. There were several critiques by Monique, and she's probably looking at if she ever watches my reviews, she's probably thinking, this boy is always critiquing me. That's the same way that your husband's feeling. He feels critiqued a lot of the time. And I said this last week about the last episode, even when he came to her and said to her, when she came back from her radio presenting job, and she came and sat down. When she sat down and spoke to him, she was even saying, that she wasn't even giving him eye contact. She wasn't appreciating the fact that he had been with the kids today. Like, there was no words of comfort at all. And I mentioned, I said, this is not good. This is not helpful. This is not growing your relationship with your husband. And now we get a point where we see Chris actually now saying, you know what, look, all I'm getting from you is critique. It's time for a change. And I think that is important, that not only is Monique going to stop critiquing so much, it's also important for Chris to speak up, because it cannot be always, Monique trying to read your mind. She has to know that these words hurt you. Let's go to this.
I think that's cool.
It's nothing that is trying to insult you or even bash you. I'm just explaining what it is that I'm going through.
I mean, how many good things have you told him about?
I told him, you're a great father. You're a great husband.
It was interesting because she actually opened up the conversation by saying, I was with the girls and I was there complaining again about you. We're not in that space. In all honesty, we're not in that space. We're not in that space, Monique. We're not in that space. You can say that when your things are going great, be like, and he says a joke, I was there complaining about you, And you can say that because it's a joke and it's calm and it's vibes and you know what, it's cool. We can say those things, but when we're not in that space, you can't be saying those things because it hurts. It hurts. And, I have not been getting that positive regard from you. So, yeah, for me, it's a painful thing to go through. It's a painful thing to experience. I don't like it because I know personally that you feel some type of way about me because I'm seeing it when you're not giving me no positive regard, right? And so, this comes back to the points we've been saying for the past few weeks. When you're dealing with your partner, having a critique every single time you see them becomes a very negative, judgmental space. And you hear him talk about the fact that I'm even doing what you want me to do. I'm out with the kids. I'm looking after them. I'm doing that and doing that. And all I would want is just have a positive reinforcement. I keep saying this. She would get Chris on side if she just gave him a bit more positive reinforcement. You want him to do stuff. You want him to be more deeper. Encourage him. When he says something, you're like, babe, Joel, that was cool. I like that. Is there any more thoughts around that? Okay, maybe he says no. He said, okay, John, babe, please keep sharing those thoughts with me. I really appreciate when you share those thoughts with me. But when your response is, you never share your thoughts with me, you never go deep, then you're going to shut the person down.
When you're a great provider, you do all of those things. It's just the other stuff that I'm asking for, that I've been asking for our entire marriage. I don't ever want him to feel like I'm bashing him because,
baby, that's all you were doing. All you do is bashing. I know you don't feel like that, but that's all you've been doing, baby. Like the last few weeks, that's all you've been doing. If you look back at the tapes, you'll see it. Now, I'm not saying that Chris is perfect once again, but I'm just saying that's you guys are editing. So I don't know. I'm just following the editing. It looks like you're bashing him every single time. Now, I think what's really important though, and she's going to say it later on, which is that he shouldn't say things just to please her. And I think sometimes Chris has a people pleasing energy. I think also she's got a very assertive energy, and I think the two rub off against one another, right? He really appreciated Monique in the very beginning of the relationship because she was the dynamic of the boss. Right, she would be the person who would look after everything around him, and he could just focus on football. And that kind of mindset, I guess, has continued into the marriage in terms of, you know what, I just want to just concentrate on one thing, and let me concentrate on it, and you do the rest of the things around me. And it doesn't really work that way in a marriage, right? And I think also that's a frustration for Monique as well in that situation. Like it can't continue in that vein and fashion because I'm no longer that role of your secretary. I'm no longer that role of just a person who's gonna sort out the media stuff or whatever for you, and then life is easier for you. No, I've got my own stuff I'm dealing with, and that's where the contention is really coming from as well. Right, so I feel that from Monique.
That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm more so venting to get things off my chest. But if me doing that, the way I'm doing it, is bothering him, then I need to make some changes.
And so I appreciate the fact that Monique is willing to make those changes. And that, again, look how it's come about, though. It's come about because he decided to speak up. Many of you need to speak up in your relationships. You're afraid you're going to lose a person. You're afraid you're going to hurt the person. You're afraid that, you know what, it's going to start another argument. But guess what? When you don't talk up, you leave it up in the air. And the person can't read your mind. Don't leave it up to the air to figure out. The person needs to know from you what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So it's important that you discuss this with your partner. You know, it's important that you say, hey, this hurts and I'm not feeling this. You can't avoid it. You know, you can't avoid it.
I feel like I'm busting my butt, you know, creating a routine with the kids, something that you mentioned a while ago. I'm literally up with the kids, cooking breakfast, either ordering breakfast, breaking up little spats between them. But then on the other,
and this is really important as well for anybody who's a couple. Listen to what he's actually saying. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And he's about to finish off by saying, and all I want is a little bit of appreciation. A few words of appreciation here. How many women are in the same position too? Just want a few words of appreciation or acts of service or, I don't know, gifts or whatever. A little of their love language being appreciated for the work they do. It goes a long way, you know, to know what somebody's love languages and supply it and do it for them. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm watching that and I'm going, we knew that Chris was feeling this some way for a few weeks now. He'd been shut up for a little while. And I think what Monique likes is when he talks up. I think Monique is the kind of person that wants you to say it direct and straight because that's how she is. Then it doesn't make her look so much of a bad guy when she does it. So I think she likes when Chris speaks up because then she knows exactly what's up. And two, when she speaks back up as well, you can't say she's a bad person. But if Chris then plays a more placid role, it makes her look like she's mad rude or mad bad. Do you know what I mean? And I can understand that as well.
On the other hand, I'm just hearing he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that. And it's tough. So just kind of tone that down a little bit. How about come home and tell me some good things? You know, I appreciate this, I appreciate that.
And I don't.
Man said, tone that down a little bit. You know what I mean? And I get it. You know, again, I'm glad he never said never. I'm glad that he never said never because that would have been the wrong word. But when she asked, don't I say nice things? He said, listen, you say we do, but not enough. That's the right way to handle it. If you say never, always, ever, you're going to get yourself into trouble, you know? So, you know, in that moment, we've seen it. He's talked up and he's explained himself and just let her know, like, I'm feeling this in comparison to you. Now, I want to go a little bit earlier on because I want to just go to the part where the coach says something to them what to do, right? Because it was really interesting what happened when the coach told him to say some nice things to each other. Let's just go to here because she's struggling to say these nice things clearly. Let's go to here. Okay, cool. There we go. Lovely.
You can.
You look great, baby.
I bet I do from that angle.
You look sexy, honey.
And when you're ready, you can switch.
Yep.
Now, in this passage of thing, the coach had told them, listen, you can say something nice to each other. We never heard anything from Monique. Now, that could be the editing. I'll be open to it. But why would the editing show that on purpose? Why would they show him saying two nice things and not her responding, saying anything nice back? I mean, of course, they're trying to fit a narrative from Monique. But yeah, she didn't say anything nice back. You know, it's not the first time we've heard him say some positive stuff. Did we have that same thing on the couch where he was saying some positive things to her? That's exactly what he's talking about. I think his love language is words of affirmation, maybe. And so you don't really hear that from Monique back. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why there's going to be a deficit for him. I also see why there's a deficit for her as well. I'm not going to say that I don't know that why. But just since watching from episode 1 to episode 8, all we've seen is Monique complain, but never really positively regard her husband. It actually has been quite sad to kind of see, because it's like, oh, babe, do you not like your man or something? People are even saying, are you trying to get out of your marriage? That's how we're feeling right now. You're trying to get out of your marriage. That's what people are feeling. Because when they see you interact with him, moments like that, he said 2 nice things to you. That's what the coach said. We should say some nice things. Nothing comes back. Let's play a little bit more. You can see what I'm talking about.
Glad I told you to wear them tights.
I'm going to give you time to relax and cool down, decompress after that workout.
And so the next conversation that comes is, I was complaining to my girls about you. Overcritical spirit, overcritical environment, not a safe place, and this is a very harsh environment now to be in. And that's what I said about the same thing with Winter, when she took all information from Winter and took it to the other girls. It's not a safe place with you anymore, Monique. It's also not a safe place with you, with Chris, if when I come to you, every time you've got a critique of me and you don't have no positive regard, you come home for work and you got more critique. Like, yo, come on. A brother can only do so much. And I'm not just saying it for a brother. Any person in situation can only do so much. So we want to see Monique change it. And hopefully now she's been told, because really and truly, Chris needs to speak up. He can't let it go on. He has to speak up as well. He has to take accountability too. You got to speak up and let the person know this is unacceptable or this is acceptable for you, as well. So yeah, listen, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. Let us know your thoughts down below as well. We appreciate you guys.
Yellow, black, you know what kind.